Thanks for making your comments to the board. I guess we have new business. Resolution recognizing the board's delegating authority to employ township supervisors and employees to the township supervisor. I just want to give a little bit of background because there's a little confusion. Right now, the township supervisor's office has one employee, and then in the past it had one employee, 1.5 employees, and then we'll let the one employee go. We've been using a temp agency to fill that temp part-time employee for the last, I believe 6 months, right? Oh, okay. So I make, can someone make a motion? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have started it without it. Can't rely on myself. Motion to pass this. Anyone make a motion to pass? This resolution recognizing the board's delegating authority to employ the township supervisors and employees to township supervisor.
You gotta be right aloud.
You want?
Traditionally, I
Yeah.
There's a motion. Who made the motion?
We have a motion to pass it. Is there a second?
Who made the motion?
Dave Chapman, right?
Chairman. Oh, okay.
If you'd like, pass me a copy, I'll read it.
All right, Dan.
Dan, did you second it?
Yeah.
No, I just was asking.
Melissa second.
All right, this is a resolution recognizing board and delegating authority to employ township supervisors and employees to township supervisors. Whereas Algonquin Township is a unit of local government in McHenry County, state of Illinois, and whereas the Illinois Township Code 60 ILCS 1/F took effect on January 1st, 1994. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Your microphone would help, but since you asked.
Whereas the Illinois Township Code is designed to enumerate the various responsibilities and actions of a township and its elected officials, and whereas pursuant to 60 ILS 1/70-15A, the township supervisor is the chief executive officer of the township, and whereas pursuant to 60 ILCS 1/100-5, the township board has the authority to employ and fix the compensation of township employees. And whereas the township board may delegate the authority to employ and fix the compensation of a township employee to the township supervisor. And whereas the township supervisor has authority to hire for his own office within his budgetary constraints and desires to hire support staff for his office. And whereas there appears to be a conflict in the laws and the township supervisor and the township board want to make it clear that the supervisor has the authority to hire employees for the operation of the township within his budgetary authority. Now therefore be it resolved by the Algonquin Township Board, McHenry County, Illinois. 1. Recital. The recitals set forth above are incorporated here as if set forth fully here. Granting of authority. The supervisor is granted the authority to make all employment decisions pertaining to employees in the township, including hiring, terminating, and fixing compensation within the supervisor's budgetary authority. 3. Effective date. This resolution shall be enforced and in effect from August to be filled in 2018. Passed this such as the day of August 2018 by the Board of Trustees of Algonquin Township. That finishes McHenry County, Illinois. Do that.
Any discussion?
Yes. So I have several concerns and questions about this resolution. First, Attorney Kelly, you authored this resolution, correct? Is it safe to assume you authored all 3 of the resolutions before us tonight?
Well, someone in my office did, yeah.
So your office is responsible, okay. You acknowledge in the recitals that the Township Board has the authority to employ and set the compensation for township employees in citing the specific statute, 60 ILCS 1-1/100-5, where the township board has the authority to employ and fix the compensation of township employees, with the exception of, and I'm adding this on my own walk from memory from knowing the law, that with the exception of the employees of the supervisor of general assistance, the assessor, and the auditor, but we don't have an auditor. So,
You're not in
but yet, the specific statute which clearly confirms it is cited here, but yet the very next sentence, whereas the township board may delegate the authority and employ the fixing, to employ and fix the compensation to the township supervisor, does not have a cited statutory citation. Why is that? And will you please cite any statute confirming that, if one exists?
First of all, the township board has the authority to delegate any of the duties that it has. Second, first, I don't believe this resolution is necessary at all. In Henry County, we have a trial court decision by Judge Caldwell that essentially says the supervisor as chief executive officer can do certain things to include fire employees. So that's McHenry County. But we have this conflict between that particular provision and this second provision that talks about the township's board's authority. That provision, for the most part, I would interpret, and I have interpreted it, to mean that the township board has the ability to hire township employees as in a administrator, a social worker, but usually not for necessarily a specific elected office, such as the clerk or the supervisor, because the duty of those, let's say in this case, administrative assistant, or really this person is what, answer the phone maybe, and do filing and things like that. Their duty is really to work for the supervisor, not the board. So to be relatively extremely ineffective and not efficient to have this board interview and decide who the supervisor should hire to do work for them, especially since they're going to work with him. In this case, could be a Diane Klein. So generally, I don't see that language in 100-5 as dealing with the immediate report of the supervisor. However, if we do have this conflict, the board has the authority to the Dillon's rule to take care of and to take actions that are in compliance with its authority. We can delegate that to the supervisor to hire his own employee. Let's face it, who's going to report, who's that employee going to report to? It's not going to be Dan Shea, it's not going to be Mr. Chapman, or the clerk, it's going to be Mr. Luxor. So the board clearly has authority to delegate authority to the supervisor to take action on a whole series of things. Just a common sense application of Dillon's rule. So that being said, further, I think you've already given him basically funds to hire someone. And I tell you that's authority in and of itself. But it's your resolution, you can do whatever you want with it, okay? And that's with all these resolutions. I just, especially the patronage, nepotism resolution, I was sort of first stab to see what the heck you wanted. There's some reasons behind some of the language in that resolution. There's some reason behind this resolution. But once again, it's up to you on how you want to deal with it. feel free to modify it as you wish.
Thank you. I just have a few other, issues, if you don't mind. So thank you for confirming that there is no statutory citation giving the board authority to delegate its statutory duties. And I don't believe there is a conflict in the law whatsoever. In fact, I think it's very, very clear. Furthermore, I think that this proposed resolution is not legal, that the board lacks the authority to delegate its statutory duties, and that this resolution is an attempt at an 11th hour remedy to the fact that the supervisor has already placed an ad on Indeed.com for an assistant, including a pay rate set by the supervisor. It also invites litigation by any of our constituents, and I strongly oppose it. That's it.
May I?
Yeah.
Did you have to do this resolution, Mr. Wetzel?
According to the attorney, no.
Why did you decide to do this?
Well, the reason why is, first of all, I can take out an ad and we want to see what kind of people are out there. Ms. Lawrence has been the one who's been promoting that we look all deep and wide and don't hire our friends and all that stuff. And so I took out an ad, which the type of person we were looking for.
And are you allowed to take out an ad?
I think it's a free country, I mean, yeah. I took out an ad, we got a bunch of resumes in.
According to the statutes.
Taking an ad out, we didn't know what kind of person we were gonna get. We didn't know if we were gonna find somebody who just knew general assistance that came back. So we took out an ad, let it out to the people, and just so you know, it's not like we're trying to grow government here. We've had one full-time person there and one part-time person there for the last 10 years, and when we got rid of the person that was working there and one of our people moved to full-time, we've been using a temp agency, and everyone's been voting for the temp agency for the last 6 months to have a part-time employee there from 9 to 1 p.m., and everyone's paid that, and no one's had a problem with that. But as we've progressed and worked through these temp agencies, we wanted to find somebody, and we went out to the public and see if we could find someone who would stay with us, be better, hopefully better. And so that's why we took out an ad. We didn't know, the person might have just fallen right under GA, because we did put confidential information on the ad, but it's just a simple ad.
Okay, question, what is the statute that the supervisor is not allowed to take out the ad? Can you tell me the
Dylan's
statute? In Dylan's rule, it says that he is not allowed to hire.
It says that the township board and elected officials are specifically allowed these duties and authorities and no others.
Right, but he is allowed to
So
hire.
unless it is specifically enumerated,
Right,
they're not allowed to do it.
Right, but if he has the money in his budget, he is allowed to hire and do an ad, correct?
No.
So there is nothing that states that.
Yeah, and you're able to reasonably take the actions that
Right.
are contemplated to fulfill the requirements of the statute.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not like I'm trying to build a patronage army here with one and
Nobody's saying you are.
half part-time employee.
Nobody's saying you are. No,
Yeah, and I
I'm fine with that.
took the
So-
ad out because everyone's saying, let's have fairness.
Because you need help.
We definitely need an extra person there. It's not a new person. We've had a temp agency. They filled it for 3 months. The lady that we had, we really liked her. Then she took a full-time job. Then we had another lady who we kind of liked, you know, and I'm just gonna be polite. And so we decided that instead of going back to the temp agency, where we're paying a premium for them to make an extra cut on the money, on the wages, we decided that, we're gonna see what was available.
Okay,
That's
so
why we
did you
took out
have,
that.
so you did not have to do this resolution, you can just hire somebody.
According to all I wanted to do was up and up, all I said to Mr. Kelly was, I heard exactly from Rachel, not Rachel, but other people talking about, you know, how you hire. I've talked to other township supervisors, they all just hired. None of them went through this. All I asked is the attorney, can I hire someone? He said, yes. Then I said, well, you know what? I want to go up and beyond what is normal within the township. So that I asked him to write an extra resolution, and I think he said to me, you put something special together for me. And I quote him, you're right. and that's why we're doing this. This is, but, I mean, this person, we have a person that's doing a great job, as we all know in my office right now, but she has to take vacations, and she has to, you know, do some things like that, and it's that simple. We're not growing government, we're not increasing anything, and this person's not just gonna answer the phone, by the way. I mean, the person's gonna be cross-trained. I could pay her right out of GA, and there'd be nothing that anybody could say, but the fact of the matter is, I would like this person to learn GA, and as my other person to have GA, do GA, but also be able to do other things, because we're such a small office that you want someone that's cross-trained, you don't want someone who just can do one thing. And, on top of it, I just will tell you that our auditor came in, and he said that for a township our size, I have the smallest office as a township supervisor that he's ever seen.
Right, so, okay, so you have money in your budget. to do
Oh,
this,
I-
and you
I do this.
are allowed to do this.
I just
You
wanted,
did not need
I
this
just wanted to be
resolution
as
to make this
transparent as
happen.
possible.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear that you did not need to make this resolution to happen, you have money in your
If
budget.
this, I'm fully in favor of this, if it clarifies it and puts it down on paper, that'll take care of all these idle comments that we keep having on
Correct.
petty stuff.
Mr. Supervisor, I find that indeed courts should not make law, the legislature makes law. And what I see in the code is it specifies that you may hire 2 GA employees, and that the township board shall employ the rest of those people. Now, I'm going to ask you, what's the problem with us doing that? What's the problem with following the code, following the township code that we're supposed to do? It's in there, and if it wasn't supposed to be done, and every other township does it, I don't care. It says that we shall, not that we could or we might. It says that we shall.
Well, I just asked the attorney, I told him what I wanted to accomplish, and I asked him for his help. I mean, I don't know how else to answer that. We have to wait a whole other month and do something different, or have a special meeting? You know, I mean, we have a good person, I mean, this is not like, I mean, this is not something that I wanna be fighting about.
Okay. I don't think anyone's fighting.
We
I
don't
think
know.
this is all productive discussion.
Yes, we don't want to fight about it either.
Okay.
Would anyone else like to say anything before I speak again? I already know I spoke once.
She goes,
Okay. I just want to take issue with one thing. A temp, we all know that you've had your temporary employee. A temp is actually a contractor, not an employee. So that's kind of like apples and oranges. Nitpicking, I know, but there is a difference. And I'm just wondering, you know, we were elected, trustee Victor, Chapman and Shea, I, and Supervisor Lezzo, we're all elected to perform specific duties as enumerated in Township Code and under Illinois statute. And I'm just concerned that we, well, basically, are you all okay with the potential of a constituent suing the township based on the fact that the trustees have relinquished the duties for which they were elected to perform? In perpetuity. You realize that this resolution is in perpetuity. So the next supervisor after him and the next supervisor after him will have this power. This does not expire.
It can be taken away by somebody down the line also. It's not like it's chiseled in the wall here. I mean, to make it sound so rock hard, it's not that.
Can you give your insight on this?
You know, if you want to set an expiration date, that's fine. I mean, that's, you know, it's,
why?
once again, I mean.
I don't agree with it in the first place because it opens us up to litigation. When that's the very last thing that we
It
need.
doesn't, anything this board does opens itself up to litigation. However, to prevail in a lawsuit of the type you're describing, you're going to have to show that the litigant, the plaintiff, would show that the board acted in an arbitrary and unreasonable manner, and that there is no legitimate legislative purpose for its action. And the long and short of it, from what I've heard here, They're not acting in any way arbitrarily. It seems like a reasonable request to create at least resolve a conflict in the law. And they certainly have a legitimate legislative purpose for enacting this type of legislation.
Thank you.
I have a quick question before we close discussion. I'm assuming that we're almost done here. Sorry if I'm wrong, but the statute specifically describes the Office of the Supervisor of General Assistance. They do not anywhere in Township Code describe the Office of the Supervisor of the Township. So any employee that is hired wherever they're going to work for, emptying trash cans or setting up chairs or, any payroll employee that does work for the township other than the road district will be a township employee unless they are specifically hired as a general assistance only employee. And so that's my only concern is I just want to do it by the book, and I would ask you, Supervisor Lessa, with all due respect, what is the harm in having a board approve your selection for your hire?
There was no intention of that, to harm anybody. I just asked,
So it's okay then?
what do you mean?
There's no harm in a board approving your
I
selection for
don't think
hire.
anyone would have a problem doing it. We're talking about, who
So then
knows?
what's the need for this resolution?
I asked Mr. Kelly what was the best way for us to add an employee. In the past 100 years here, people would the supervisor would just hire somebody. And you can have people, I don't know if it's the case, I could put people and pay them under general assistance, but I didn't think I was being very transparent because I've got people that I want them cross-trained.
We all know what happened in the past here and that some of it was not exactly by the book. But what we're trying to do, what I hope to do moving forward is to change it so we are doing everything by the book.
And that's what I asked the attorney if I was doing that. And that's why I asked for a resolution as well. I didn't ask for a resolution.
So if
He
you
came up with
don't
a
have an
resolution.
issue with the township board approving your, recommended employee and fixing their compensation, then what is the need for this resolution?
He said I don't need it. He told me the township
You could do it,
attorney said I could just hire somebody, period.
or you could, if you want to have a board
Okay,
approve
so
it,
you
it's fine.
agree it's unnecessary?
I was just trying to do, be transparent with the board. I mean, everyone's always out to say we're not open or whatever, or it's comments. And so all I wanted to do is say, we're not adding to government, we're not making it bigger, and we're,
But it's not
trying
an
to,
issue.
well, that's important to me. And, that the person is, we want to offer someone a good position, but we also don't want to be in a situation where we make the phone call for the person we're thinking about and they don't even want to come back because this board's always, in something. But I used to ask him what was the best procedure to do, and that's what he came up with.
I believe the best procedure, Mr. Supervisor, is, as you know, I've been a stickler on this since day one, making sure that the employees that we're hiring are hired through the right process. You have the authority to hand out contracts, landscaping and cleaning and things like that. Specifically, we don't want to get involved in denying you or causing up any problem with you hiring it. So I think that we just go on, you bring us the list of the person that you think, and the township board pursuant to the statute approves that person and sets their salary, and you are then the supervisor of them.
Well, they report to the township because they're a township employee. They report to the
I
board. The
think
township
we're
board
getting way
is
too
the-
complicated.
I
I think we're getting way too
Unless they're
complicated
feeling-
here.
I just would like to get this.
It's just the law. If the law is complicated, it's not the
No,
fault of
no.
anyone in this room.
No, he's allowed to hire an employee.
There's no statute that says that.
He is allowed to hire an employee.
I'm
Who
sorry,
may
I
employ and fixed compensation of the township employees that the board deems necessary. He is allowed to hire who he wants.
You just read Jim Kelly's statement, which is not cited by
No,
any statute. You
No.
know,
It's right in the,
Statute.
it's right in the,
I just read part of the statute.
So, Mr. Kelly, are we doing the right thing by passing this or not? I mean, really, let's just talk about legally.
first of all, I'll be clear. The board, can do whatever it wants to do with these type of resolutions. You're a board, you get to act like a board, and make decisions. If you don't like this resolution, you don't like it. My analysis was based on you need an employee. Literally, at this point, I think the township itself really only has one employee as of today. And we spent all this time talking literally about how to hire maybe another part-time employee. But I don't think it's intent of the statute to require, and it says may, it doesn't bar, there's no prohibition against a supervisor hiring an employee. And as I said, there's a decision in this circuit made by Judge Caldwell that basically said that as, and I cited the statute, the supervisor is chief executive officer of the township. And I would tell you that the intent of his, and if you read his decision, indicates that you would have the authority to hire an employee like this. So, if you want the board to participate in the hiring, you can do that, and that's the board's decision and yours. If you want to hire an employee, I'm of the opinion you can hire the employee for your office. Now, if you're going to hire an employee, or let's say hypothetically, someone that like a township administrator or a township juvenile coordinator who would report, those people would be reporting to this board. Someone working in your office, as I said, doing administrative tasks or doing GA, isn't reporting to this board, they're reporting to you. You can hire someone if you'd like, or you can adopt this resolution. I think the resolution clears it up. It eliminates the question of whether you have the authority or not because you're granted that authority. It just eliminates that question completely. And this board has the authority.
Would it be possible to table this resolution until we get that opinion that you mentioned from Judge Caldwell?
I'm sure it's a trial court decision, but I'll.
Because I would reconsider if I had that, if I took that into
And dig it out.
consideration.
So would I.
We have a motion on the floor to approve it.
And she just made a motion to the table, didn't you, Rachel?
There was already a motion.
Well, there's already a motion.
It's in order.
Well, who's gonna rescind, or who's going to?
I never made a motion.
There was a motion made
Who made a motion?
by Chapman, seconded by Victor, to approve the resolution. Okay.
Yes.
And this discussion has been all about that.
Right. So now what are we doing?
So
We're gonna vote?
Someone's gonna make another motion, again,
Vote to
or
rescind this motion? Yeah, we've already got a motion on the table. That motion needs to be cleared up. We talked about this last time.
You can either vote on it, or you can have, one of the makers rescind it, or, ask that it be postponed to a date certain. Those are,
Okay, well, the motion's on the floor, so somebody needs to tell me what they want to do with this
I'd like to
motion.
make a motion that we approve the resolution.
The motion's there, so you guys want to vote on it, or you guys want to
I think we should
rescind?
vote on it.
Need a second to your motion, Donna.
Okay, so,
I can't support it without seeing something in writing.
You rescind your, did you second?
No, he made the motion.
I
So
made the
you rescind your
motion.
motion?
So I will make a new motion that we
oh,
approve.
wait,
No.
let's have a person that seconded it, rescind it.
Okay.
Who seconded it?
Melissa, so she won't.
Oh,
All right, I'll
she,
rescind this motion.
okay.
I'll rescind it.
I'll make a motion to table it, a new motion to table it until the next month's meeting, before which time, or prior to the next month's meeting, we can review the opinion mentioned by Judge Caldwell, trial court decision mentioned by Judge Caldwell, mentioned by Attorney Kelly, and take that into consideration prior to vote next meeting.
I'll second that. I don't see any harm in waiting one more month. You can still, and you are obviously, talking to people.
What's that? I mean, that's something that I would like to, I mean, why can't we just, what's the other way to do it? Just list the person's name down and vote on it at a meeting?
Yeah.
I mean, why can't we have a special meeting and get it done with it? I mean, I don't wanna wait a month.
You have the authority to do that. Call a special meeting. As long as we all have that information prior to that special meeting, I don't see a problem with that at all.
I mean, I was just trying to do it as transparent as possible, and trying to make a big deal out of this.
I understand, I don't fault you for it, I just want, we're ready to do things by the book, that's all.
But you don't need to have this resolution, you already have the power to hire somebody.
It's up to the board.
Okay, so we're voting on the motion to table this.
Yes.
Okay. Victor,
No.
Shay,
No.
Bledsoe,
No.
Chapman,
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes,
Okay, the motion failed.
Motion
To table it failed.
Not me.
Motion to approve.
Well, we already rescinded that motion.
No, you okay, so you're not defending that.
Do we have a motion approved?
I make a motion we approve it.
I will second.
Okay, are we gonna discuss anymore? Are we done?
We got it.
Okay. Victor,
Yes.
Chapman,
No.
Shay,
Yes.
Lawrence,
no,
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Motion passes.
would you mind still please sending me that, if you don't mind, Attorney Kelly? And if it avoids legal fees, I would also accept it in my mailbox if it avoids additional legal fees.
Ready? The next one?
Sure.
Okay. There you go,
All right.
Dan. What do you like?
Resolution on nepotism and patronage. We have two resolutions